The Nigerian army under General Azubike Ihejirika allowed Boko Haram to regroup deliberately in the Sambisa forest. Last year, when the state of emergency was declared, Boko Haram was on the run, and the villagers of the villages ravaged by Boko Haram today were themselves single-handedly apprehending Boko Haram fighters in the bushes. Victory was at hand for Nigeria as the Boko Haram fighters were roaming the bushes without ammunition, food, and water. The civilian JTF, CJTF, under the leadership of soldiers of the JTF like Colonel Hassan, Shamaki, and the once dreaded Sagir Musa and one Sangami, coordinated and directed the CJTF to the villages and the surrounding bushes. The CJTF and the JTF recorded success like never before on the war on terror. This was the time the original Shekau was killed, August of 2013. But then General Ihejirika suddenly and surprisingly disbanded the JTF and introduced the so-called 7th Division. That was a deliberate sabotage of the success from day one. The army, after the creation of 7th Division, cut down the powers of the CJTF to go to the villages or to Boko Haram camps on patrol. For the CJTF to do so, they were now made to have to apply in writing to the authorities. The 7th Division became an army that was stationary instead of an army that took proactive measures in combat. This allowed Boko Haram to regroup and survive the terror reign on the people. It was evident the Chief of Army Staff wanted to preserve Boko Haram and not complete their defeat. It has become convincing that the money from the continuous warfare on terror in the north was the motivation for this. The people suspected foul play when the heroes of the people in the army that worked with the CJTF were all deployed out of the state. Most of them were framed as members of the Boko Haram and they quietly left. The intelligence officers were transferred out of the state. The new general officer commanding the army deployed to Borno was a right-hand man of Ali Modu Sharif, the former governor of Borno State, who is believed to be the chief sponsor of Boko Haram. It was even said that Sharif actually worked for the man to be deployed to Borno State. Army sources revealed that the army practically hands over equipment to Boko Haram. A source said that supplies to Maiduguri will be waylaid by insurgents, and without a single fire, Boko Haram will claim supply convoys, and all the soldiers in that convoy will be unharmed, but supplies are lost. The source further disclosed that what we should be asking is how all this happened. The general moved all the heavy weapons from Kotangora to an unknown destination, and up till today no one knows where they are. Containers filled with different weapons were intercepted by customs at Lagos and handed over to General Ihejirika, but today you can't see them anymore. Later, intelligence reports revealed that the weapons were silently moved to the Niger Delta. Another incident is how Boko Haram acquires the army vehicles, including the APCs and tanks. The soldiers say they took them onto patrol, and on first sight of Boko Haram, they abandoned them and flee. Another source said in the desert of northern Borno, such vehicles got stuck in the sand, and the soldiers will flee and abandon them. And the Boko Haram boys will come and dig them out for themselves without nothing happening. There were times when Ihejirika was the head of the army, and villagers and civilians will rush to soldiers during attacks, and the soldiers will say their order was not to move out of that place. Then they had more ammunition than the small arm of Boko Haram that attacked the villagers. The people believed then that the army sent to Sambisa wasn't to fight Boko Haram, but to provide protection for the band of Boko Haram that was there. Army helicopters were often seen assisting the terrorists. The army will go on operation with little ammunition, and they will be followed by another group that wipes the first group in the name of Boko Haram attacks. Boko Haram was given enough time to regroup and arm themselves from the supplies of the army, indirectly by the army itself.